What's up, Internet? Welcome to Once Over. I'm Kaylee,
I'm Chris.
and today we're going to be giving the Once Over to Leprechaun.
There will be spoilers.
So I feel really fortunate that we get to have Chris here with us today. I'm really excited to talk about movies with him. He knows a ton about movies. He's a musician and he's a contributor for The Hard Times, which means that he both knows more about movies than me and is funnier than I am. So I'm really looking forward to have him on my channel today.
That isn't true.
It's definitely true. And I'm also really happy to have Chris here today because this means that I did not have to suffer through Leprechaun by myself.
Yeah, I'm glad to have joined you on this journey.
We can also blame this journey on you. We were debating between a couple of different movies. Leprechaun was in the mix because, of course, St. Patrick's Day is coming up. And then...
Just so happens that the coin landed on Leprechaun.
Yes. We quite literally flipped a gold coin. Probably not gold. Silver, nickel, what are coins made out of?
It was golden spirit.
So we flipped the coin, landed on Leprechaun, and now we're both suffering. So tell me about what you thought about this movie overall.
I think overall it sucked. But
End of review.
End of review, yeah. Leprechaun is a 1993 horror comedy that lacks both, really. So what happens is a random leprechaun is bestowed on the earth for some reason. We don't really know why. This old man takes his gold doubloons and then he just goes on a scavenger hunt for his, basically for his gold.
I hate this movie.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
It is a movie that sounds cool, but is not cool.
Leprechaun is what you would imagine exactly what Leprechaun is.
It was possibly one of the worst movies that I've watched recently.
This is a whole other level of shittiness. I've seen a lot of crappy movies, and I love crappy movies, but like one of the main thing that separates a crappy movie from like a crappy movie is the fact that at least there's some redeeming effects on a lot of like monster movies and stuff.
But not here.
But not here. No.
Not even a little bit.
Not even. Well, I mean,
maybe
there's a morsel. It was pretty grueling.
Yes.
To say the least. And this one wasn't really fun to watch.
No, it was not.
And I tried to give it the benefit of the doubt. And creature movies are awesome.
Yeah. Failed on every level. One of the first things that we noticed about this movie when we were both rewatching it is how shitty the effects are.
It wasn't even so much that they were shitty, it was just there was a severe lack of them. It's an hour and a half and there was like maybe like 5 cool scenes.
I know that we both really enjoyed the scene with the hand crawling up the door.
Yeah, that was pretty
cool. That was a really well done scene and I feel like it was really thoughtful and kind of creepy.
That was one of the cool effects, I thought, for sure. It just reminded me of a long Goosebumps episode. So I guess I kind of wishful thinking that it would be some gore fest,
but it's not at all.
But it's not. No, it sucks. The end effects are fantastic though. I think when they showed him melting when he shoots that thing down his throat or whatever. Even though it was like 5 seconds.
5 seconds out of an hour and a half long movie.
He went from killing a guy with a pogo stick and like dancing and singing while he was doing it to just like finding a cop in the woods and then just like snapping his neck. He said, "Oh, that was fun."
Yeah.
That was the big kicker. They focused too much on him trying to get his gold.
Too much focus on plot, not enough focus on effects. On the incredibly intricate plot. In contrast to the special effects being kind of lacking, I think we both agreed that the makeup effects were actually pretty cool. So I think the character design of the actual leprechaun himself was creepy and horrifying. There's like some shots where Warwick Davis, who is the actor who is playing the leprechaun in this movie, there's some shots that are just so weird and his body looks so awkward, and in conjunction with the makeup, it's just very uncomfortable and it like makes my skin crawl. That
is one of the redeeming qualities, I think, is those shots of like showing his legs. Like for some reason, I mean that it worked. If they were trying to convey that, then they did a good job. The fright, like how frightening his makeup was overshadowed by like his stupid lines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There were so many bad one-liners in this.
We're cooking now, kids.
So I think that one of like the cool things about this movie relates to Lucky Charms cereal. So obviously a movie about leprechauns, they really wanted to include Lucky Charms in it. And so they actually got Lucky Charms to be one of the brands that they like had a brand deal with Lucky Charms. And then after Lucky Charms saw the content of the movie, they pulled out. So they had to refilm all those scenes and they ended up with Lucky Clover cereal. And I think that the most genius thing that this movie did was end up including at the end of the film, what was it?
He says
Fuck you, Lucky Charms.
when he shoots the four-leaf clover down the
Yeah,
leprechaun's throat, basically, and
which
yeah.
is like insane. Like
It's like total, it's total fuck you from all the cast and crew. You got to think that they're all like put that goddamn part in the movie.
and to give that line like that much clout, like
Right.
and to take on like such a major corporation, like that's
Yeah.
ballsy. As
It was like
fuck.
Leprechaun's hasta la vista.
Yes, it
like
was.
moment. Yeah.
That's exactly right. We had also talked about some other movies that this had kind of reminded us of. So like there's like this one shot where it's like leprechaun vision where like you can see through the leprechaun's eyes and it's just like how the Jaws shots are filmed. But obviously that made sense to do in Jaws because they had a lot of problems with the shark. So that's why they ended up having to film so much of that movie like that. But in this movie, I don't really feel like they had that same excuse. I feel like they were just trying to be kitschy and cute by giving us like leprechaun vision. Like the angled shot.
angles, yeah.
About like those angled shots of Jennifer Aniston in like that hallway hospital-y kind of place.
It's the one time it's used in the movie.
Yeah,
too.
what is that?
It's like it's kind of like Night of the Living Dead-esque, where it's kind of trying to convey like creepy camera angles. It's not done well.
Like it's not artistic, it just
Yeah.
feels kind of thrown in there.
Yeah, probably the cameraman was hungover and he just kind of went like this.
Okay, what's crazy to me about this movie is that Mark Jones, the director and writer, also did Rumpelstiltskin.
He ripped off his own movie. Our main character, the Leprechaun from Leprechaun, is played by the actor Warwick Davis, and apparently Dan Quayle like kind of sped up his
Visa process.
to get this film made.
And so Dan Quayle actually gets a special thank you in the end credits,
Yeah.
which is hilarious.
So
to
he
me.
used his political powers
Yeah.
to get the
So we can blame Dan Quayle for this.
Yes.
So I blame you for having to watch it, and I blame Dan Quayle for it getting made.
Why? We'll probably never know why he did it. He just did it.
Of all the things that Dan Quayle did, I
Yes.
think we can all agree that this is the worst. Is the leprechaun the victim?
Oh, right, yeah.
The leprechaun really never does anything other than try to get his gold coins throughout the whole film.
And he just happens to murder people along the way.
But he probably wouldn't have murdered anybody if
Probably not. No, that's the thing. If they would have just given him...
what he wanted. What was rightfully his, really.
Seriously, yeah. In fact, the movie starts out with a guy stealing his gold.
So that leprechaun just gets screwed over once and once again. He doesn't want to be a murderer. He just wants gold.
He wants... Well, he wants
His gold.
his gold.
Speaking of the O'Grady's, they are pretty much the catalyst that set off all of the events in this film. Mr. O'Grady went on a trip to Ireland and he interrogated and then stole a pot of gold from the leprechaun. He discovers when he gets back home to his wife, Mrs. O'Grady, that the leprechaun has actually followed him home, and the leprechaun then murders his wife, and thus begins the murderous rampage of trying to regain his gold.
Does she call him Mr. O'Grady, or does she call him by his first name? Like,
They are a husband and wife, so why in the heck does she keep calling him Mr. O'Grady?
and if I guess like you're like, blah blah blah, you come in this house right now. That's different. She kept saying it over and over and over.
Yeah,
again.
you're totally right. What a weird thing to do.
Maybe they do that in Ireland. Maybe it's an Irish thing.
Oh, it's
It's not.
gotta be.
It's not my family, but
I'm sure that
Yeah.
of all the things that they got accurate in this movie, that was the thing that they got accurate. You call your husband only by his last name.
right.
So one of the things that I kind of was looking at when I was researching a little bit for this review is that a lot of people were kind of talking about the slant on mental health that this movie talks about. And a lot of people on the internet seemed to kind of think that this movie portrayed mental health in a really good way, which was shocking to me because I don't think that it did. The main way that mental health is portrayed in the movie is that the character Ozzy, who is from Pee-wee, yeah,
Francis and John Wayne Gacy too.
yeah, of course. Something's wrong with his brain, they keep saying, which is a really weird way of saying it. I kind of thought that it was degrading to him.
It was very much so. It's like, oh, he's got a brain issue. You can't fix his brain issue.
That with him, we get to see him as kind of a naive character. He's definitely portrayed as being naive, but I don't know that I would call him in any way defective, and they all certainly seem to think that he's defective, which is also very bizarre. Jennifer Aniston, this was actually her first ever movie role, which is pretty cool. She thought for sure that she was done after seeing the final product of this film because it's such gigantic crap.
Yeah, a doom from the start. Like...
Yeah. But she ended up getting cast in Friends shortly after it, so obviously it didn't ruin her career. Maybe the casting director for Friends didn't actually end up watching Leprechaun, so she got lucky.
Yeah.
And then she pretty much just plays the exact same character in Friends that she does in Leprechaun. So in Leprechaun, she plays Tori, who's kind of the pretentious, a little bit ditzy, stuck-up kind of lady.
Kind of, yeah, kind of.
And
that comment she makes about the one dude, like...
You mean weird and strange, like guys who drive dented pickup trucks and paint houses for a living?
Which is a little classist and kind of bitchy, and she definitely acts a lot like that in Friends also.
I only watched the earlier seasons.
You only watch Sanford and Son?
Basically.
I also thought that it was really funny when she was talking about Evian water, so I'll put in a little clip of that right here.
I mean, yes, I do want something. What I wanted was a watercress salad and an Evian water. But they don't have that here. All they have is cheap whiskey and warm beer.
Oh, there's water.
Jeez. Thanks.
I think this is so funny because she was actually the spokesperson for Smart Water for like a surprisingly long time. Mm-hmm. Which, I don't know, maybe she should have been the spokesperson for Evian instead of just based on this movie alone.
Oh, the crank and the...
Oh my god, Jennifer Aniston could have cranked that thing for hours. If Jennifer Aniston had cranked that little well thing for an hour and a half, I would have liked this movie better. I don't know why it was so erotic watching her crank that. I wanted to talk about the little kid who is also in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because I absolutely love that movie.
And
what do you guys want for breakfast?
Cheese omelet. SpaghettiOs.
Breakfast is served.
And one of the things that I really love about the fact that he's in this movie is that this means that he got to work with both Jennifer Aniston and Christina Applegate in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. So he really got to hang out with all the hotties of the era.
I was going to say the babes of the 90s.
The babes of the 90s. So when we watched this movie, I feel like within an hour I had forgotten everything that happened.
Yeah, it was like 10 minutes later. I was like, I don't remember anything that happened.
I remember zero of this movie and I just watched it. And that I think really goes to show how horrible it is. It's not even memorable 5 minutes after you watch it. The only scene that we both remember from childhood is the skateboard scene.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which is absurd. Like, why would you ever... Whoever decided that that was a good idea is either, like, a complete genius or a complete idiot.
Yeah, somewhere along the way when they were writing this movie, they're like...
We gotta
We gotta put him on a skateboard.
He's small, so it'll be funny.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we already had him on a little tricycle, and he found 2 tiny cars to ride. So we got to throw him on a skateboard too.
The scale of things in this movie was definitely weird.
It's just funny to me that like it's a movie centered around a little person, so everything has to like involve little objects. That
like the fact that he was able to like just randomly have everything that he needed,
that
tiny car.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Why are you just able to find everything that you need?
Just conveniently. He couldn't break out of a box, but he knows how to like drive and shit.
He's very self-sufficient, and yet he could not figure out his own way out of a box. This movie is nonsense.
And not in a good way.
No, not in a good way. Alright, so with all that being said, I think we should probably give this movie some ratings and talk about our final thoughts on it. So I definitely would give this movie a 2 out of 7 thumbs up. It really sucked. And definitely fuck you, Leprechaun. Um, I think probably the only redeeming, quality of the entire film was, Jennifer Aniston's butt. So I give it 2 out of 7 thumbs up, which is, like slightly better than what I would give Waterworld or Wedding Crashers. What would you give it?
I don't have quite the same grading system as you do.
Tell me about yours.
I would say out of 5, I would give it probably a 2.
You know why my rating system is my rating system.
I do. I believe it's a hilarious. It's actually a Simpsons reference.
Sorry, Marge. I'm afraid this gets my lowest rating ever. 7 thumbs up.
It's not so hard being a film critic.
Now that you are covered in the delicious fuck you Lucky Charms,
Oh shit! Yeah.
I think that we can wrap up this review and say thank you to everybody for watching.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming and joining me. I hope to have you back.
Yeah, maybe we should do something Captain Crunch related next time because I like that a little better.
Yes, that sounds like a wonderful idea. Yes, that your request is noted.
Okay. If you like her channel, or if you like this review, or if you like stuff,
Do you like stuff?
like and subscribe to her channel.
I would love it if you guys liked and subscribed. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thanks, it was a lot of fun.
Thanks for watching.